What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mr. B Clothing here at 1995 Northwest 86th Street in Clive. I am Chris Williams, not on the Mr. B Clothing podcast today. I decided to actually pop in here and talk to my friend Tim Sitzmann. It's that time of year where we've done this 3-4 years in a row now where you're going to lay down your picks for the 2014 Iowa State football season.
I can't. I've been waiting. I mean, you know, it's only June, but you know, once the basketball season's over, Chris, and we kind of get into a spring, summer thing, when is it going to happen? We're into summer. Football's just right around the corner. It's an exciting time for all the Fanatic fans out there. Exciting time for Chris and I. This is the time we enjoy getting together, and glad to have you. I tried to dress Chris up, but he's got the right shirt on.
I do. I got
Cyclones on. He looks great.
Got the Cyclone Fanatic polo. I figured that was Mr. B approved.
We're full of color here at Mr. B's. It's summer. We still got a lot of shorts and shirts, and you know, we don't just sell suits here, Chris, as you know, and I wear a suit a lot, and I'm making a little joke about your casual wear, but we sell a lot of casual wear, a lot of footwear. You know, those of you who haven't been in to say hello to us, we have a great staff: Mike, Mac, John, Andy, Darren. Those names are on the floor all the time. I'm Tim. I'm on the floor, and we'd love to help you.
I've seen a lot of guys, Tim, wearing like the one right here. You can't see it on the camera, but a blue blazer.
I've seen the
brighter blazers.
And I have blue on today, but this is kind of the new blue, not necessarily navy, but kind of an in-between blue. Yeah. You don't have to be the powder blue. That robin egg blue is a little too light, but kind of in the middle, and a little brighter. That's really a hot color.
Yeah, wow, absolutely.
Very, very observant.
Well, you know,
he knows fashion, not just sports, guys.
I try. Yeah. I'm an old veteran of the clothing business.
Wheels Clothing.
Yeah, Wheels Clothing in Clarinda, absolutely.
Ralph or Larry.
Yep. They used to always send me into the back. I would be the guy like hanging up the Christmas lights because they didn't trust me on the floor.
Got to have somebody work after hours, don't you?
Got to have the utility man around.
Absolutely.
All right, North Dakota State comes to town for Iowa State's first football game. Couple-time defending FCS champion North Dakota State. They beat Kansas State a year ago. They have a new coach. Their coach moved on. I will say this, for those who don't know much about this new guy and the new program, very similar deal. It's kind of you hire from within, same type system, not a whole lot of drastic changes at North Dakota State, but they do lose quite a bit from that roster a season ago. I'll say this. I think Iowa State wins this game. I don't know if I'll say comfortably, but I think Iowa State wins this game. This game scares me a lot less than if Northern Iowa was coming to town, just because of the intangibles that come with that Northern Iowa matchup. Those guys are always a little bit more pumped up to face the Cyclones or the Hawkeyes. And we're liars if we sit here and tell you we know North Dakota State like a book, because we don't. But I just feel like this Iowa State team will be better than last year. I don't know what their record's going to be, but I think this is a game Iowa State should win.
Well, I happen to agree. I know you have more insight than I do. I try to sell clothes for a living, but I certainly follow the Cyclones and wish them nothing but the best. And there's just so many unanswered questions for Iowa State as we start this season. And as I started out, I think over the last 3 or 4 years, 3 years I think we've been doing this, my predictions have been fairly close.
Pretty good.
Fairly close.
Spot on.
I'm probably 75%. But what I think here is, I think it's a win. I think it might be a little easier win than we expect it to be. Our offense is going to be pretty darn good. Where I question our year is how we're going to hold up in the Big 12 with our defense. Yeah. And that remains to be seen.
And I think, too, though, and I think a lot of educated fans will talk about this, but I think, you know, it will get lost in the shuffle casually. Iowa State's offense, I think, will help out the defense, where the last couple of years when you're going 3 and out, you're turning the ball over.
That's very well said.
Keeping them on the field. So I agree with you, and I don't think the defense is going to be very good. But
I think they'll be good by the end of the season.
I hope so.
I think
the offense has to do its part, I think is what we're both saying, to take some of the pressure off of that defense and, you know, just score some gosh darn points. I mean, that's really where it all starts and ends.
Yeah, and I think this year, and I'm not getting ahead of myself out there, I want you to understand that I predict this as being a 10-point win. I'll go on the record with that. But I really think that the psychology of the game is going to be important here as Paul tries to regroup and put a team on the field. He's famous for his upset, his one upset of their 2 upsets of the season. Yeah. I think we got to look for that. I'm a little fearful if we lose a North Dakota State, and I picked them to win, that the psychological disadvantage to the team over this year could be similar to last year. We just couldn't get anything rolling, and I'm a little nervous about that because we're rebuilding. We need that one crucial win, and I'll pick that down the road.
I actually read something last week. It was in reference to Kansas State losing to North Dakota State a year ago, and it's how if you're a high major program, a BCS program, and if you lose that first game to an FCS team, you're essentially irrelevant nationally for the rest of the year, regardless of what you do.
Right.
And I don't know if that's true. I don't think Kansas State was irrelevant last year.
They certainly weren't. They played good football.
Yeah, and they played some good teams, and they beat some good teams. But I think it does stand true where there's nothing that will deflate a fan base quite like that. And we saw that last year, I think, with Iowa State. So we're both picking wins, though. I like Iowa State here.
I never want. We're starting the season, and I never want to use the word must win. But I think this is a must win psychologically for this season to have its accent point on what it can be or what it can't be. You know, and I'll get into what I think the record will be. It's going to, as all of you fans that are smarter than I am about the game, all you football fans out there, you know that this is a tough road. That's a tough conference with a lot of very good teams at the top. There's you could say 4 to 5 teams that could fight for that title as we go down the stretch. And I think we have to be observant of that and understand that we're going to see some growth through the year, and we're going to get an upset, I predict.
All right.
But we'll see how it comes out.
Tim's calling for the Paul Road special at some point this year. We'll find out here.
Absolutely.
As we chronicle the next 11 weeks of the Iowa State football season here on Sitzmann's Picks. Next up, Tim, I'll give it a little bit of a teaser when we get to Iowa State, Kansas State in week 2.
Right.
My opinion, bar none, biggest game of the season for the Cyclones, and I will outline that as to why coming up here. I
don't disagree. That could even be my sneak pick.
Little tease. I like it. He's Tim Sitzmann. I'm Chris Williams. Here, come on down to Mr. B Clothing at 1995 Northwest 86th Street in Clive. We'll be back next week, and we'll talk Iowa State, Kansas State. Until then, so long.